welcome back to Bump Love. Guys, over and over again, we tell you we're open to hearing anything you want to say in the DM. And so for this episode of In the DM, we have Mommy Anonymous who said, I need some advice. When my baby started eating, I used a baby blender to blend his food for some time. Now, he's 2 years and I'm having problems. He can't open his mouth well and he can't chew his food properly. I fight with him to open his mouth and he stays with the food in his mouth for some time until he swallows it. I don't know what to do. So I kind of feel like Mommy Anonymous is, asking like, now my child is not eating. What do I do, guys? Yeah, let's give her some advice.
Anonymous mom has me as a baby 100 years ago. As a parent, you often blame yourself for certain things happening in your child's life. Either you started a schedule that you now realize you are unable to reverse, or once again, genetics. As I said before, I don't think I grew much between the age of 9 and maybe 14. So generally, I was one of those children who had a problem eating. And I only felt it when I went to visit, because then when you go visiting, your aunties will tell you, you have to sit at the table until you finish your food. As I mentioned in the earlier session, is you find yourself hating to do things that you're forced to do. So if you have been blending your baby's food, and when you say sometimes and your baby's 2 years, that means you've been blending it for a while. So it's like, for example, I won't use the example of a walker, but if you assist your child to do certain things, then whether it's the body muscles or the ability to be able to understand the process and move on their own sometimes becomes hampered. So one, by the time a baby is 2 years, they actually have teeth, and teeth are used for something. So if you continue to blend your food, most likely this baby will start grinding or biting at your boobies, your nipple, because at 2 years, they should be either on solid food. So they should be using these muscles. If, for example, like I stayed the whole day without talking, which at home, it's usually relaxed. By the time it's Monday, then I'm doing that. Hope I don't look so bad. But you're basically trying to get those muscles to move. So what I think this parent has done has basically handicap their child to do certain things. But it's not a biggie. As I say, I'm always the type of mom who says nothing is wrong, because by the time your mama is doing something, she's doing it out of love. It might not be the right thing, but love is such a big thing. So one, let your child take in nutrition whichever way they're willing to take in nutrition. They will get to a stage when they're like, you know what, none of these mushy foods. So one, breathe in, take it easy, and just let the process happen. Even if you carried your child every single day, you hear people saying, oh, this child is never given a chance to walk. They walk, right? Or this child is surrounded by adults, maybe they'll not be able to speak. They will speak. So my advice to you is, one, you're doing a good job, continue doing it. If he does blended food until 3 years, I mean, that's also fine. At the end of the day, are they getting the nutrition they need? Is his immunity or her immunity strong? To be honest, you just get on with the job. That's what I would say. Blended or not, the child is eating.
Yeah, I sympathize with her because I know what it means. Like small things really turn mothers, like we get anxious over small things. We might call it small, but to her it's a big deal. And I think I also have issues with picky eaters. It starts with this, refusing to eat blended food. They're not chewing, and then they eventually get picky. It's because of the texture, you're giving them the matoke, and all they're used to is the smooth smoothies, like you know. And of course, you're blaming yourself because you started to blend and blended. And now you're going to, the child is going to start school. There's no way you're going to pack any blended, you know, whatever nutrition you're blending, you know. So the baby actually really has to start eating. If you're very worried, you know, go to the pediatrician. Let them advise on how you can start, you know, exercise them. And one of the authors on a cookbook was writing that unless you have tried 15 times, don't say they've failed, you know. So just keep trying, keep giving that Irish they're refusing. Eventually they'll you know, adapt and eat it. Also, a hunger strike could help. Like, let them hunger and let's see if they will still cry for the blended when there's, you know, that batoki there. Like, hunger is hunger. Whatever they give you, you will eat. So a hunger strike could help. Like, let them go hungry for a while and then put the food there for them. So just trying. It's going to take a bit of time, but be consistent. You know, with parenting, it takes a lot of patience and consistency. And I think I was also like Angie, so I've started to calm down on my kids because I also didn't like eating. So, you know, if they like, if they've eaten a banana and eaten something nutritious, I don't worry that much anymore because, man, I looked up, I read on, you know, having kids to eat, but I mean, it didn't work. A week ago, I was actually saying I'm reducing on the snacks. Like, I've always reduced, but I'm like, no, I'm getting away with the snacks completely. Did it work? The boys did not eat snacks, but even when it came to food, they'll be like, no. You buy chicken, you'll be like, no, take the chicken off. So I've just resorted, let them eat what they like. If it's the cabbage, they'll eat it. So I'm not forcing them on the chicken. So, but I'm like, but you people, do you know that people are out there crying, they want this food, and for you, just, you know, just throwing it away. You know, I just bring in those stories, but take it easy, but be consistent. It will eventually work. I mean, they'll eventually eat, like Anja said. A baby will take long to walk, but they'll eventually walk. If it's really bothering you, visit a pediatrician and maybe they'll advise. Yeah, that's my take on that.
Once Bianca brought me a plate of food and then she said, Mommy, can we take this to Somalia for people who don't eat? That wasn't something we're going to say again. No. With a nice plate, can we take for people in Somalia? So that was not a joke we used. But anyway, so here's what I feel is that she's saying these problems that she's having because she feels like what she's going through now, the child not being able to open his mouth and all of that stuff, is because she blended the food, right? And so let me use this opportunity to advise moms. The 6th and the 7th month are when you should, if you're to blend, that is the 6th month and the 7th month maximum. Don't go past 6 and 7 months. Please do not. Now revert to what our parents used, which was mashing, meaning while there's some, the consistency is smooth, there's some particles. So your child starts to practice the use of their muscles. Now at 8 months, 8, 9, 10 months, in early childhood development, these muscles start, because you know they've been suckling, so a certain set of muscles has been being developed. Now they are going to, that's a whole different set of muscles. So in terms of what she's going through right now, like I would really, really quickly say you could use, there's certain toys that as long as they, you know how we keep telling our children not to put things in their mouths? That helps the development of their muscles. It's like exercise. So the muscle is being built when they open and put something inside their mouth. Their chewing muscles are actually being activated and getting them ready to eat. So for many of us who tell our kids, don't eat that. It's a bottle. Let them, try at it. So I have a feeling that happened, like she wasn't allowing her child to bite into stuff, but also then the food was mashed. So now might be a good time to give him stuff that he can chew on that are like toys so that he can develop the chew muscles. But then also secondly, when I see her, her text, she's saying, I fight with him to open his mouth. That means at 2 years, you're still feeding this boy. Honey, but mom, life is not bad life. Why are you doing this to yourself? Like, he's 2 years. He knows where his mouth is. I swear to God, he knows where his mouth is. You put the food there. You put it there. And then let's see if his hands won't find his mouth. They will. Why are you feeding him? Just put the food there, put him there, and leave the food. Let him see you guys, you're all eating, and let him get, you cannot be feeding a 2-year-old up to now. But won't you do other things? Like, won't you shower? Won't you dress if all you're doing is feeding a 2-year-old? No, honey, stop. Stop. We have to, when will you do other things?
Just wanted to emphasize on allowing the process to play out after you have made certain changes in how you do things. For example, like what Manuela has advised, don't say I have done everything I can and he's still not eating. Just allow the growing to happen, because eventually he will start eating. And I know that it's difficult, easier said than done, because as a mom, you're looking at other kids, especially his peers. They can feed themselves, they're eating, solid food, and they're not, their parents are not fighting with them. So I would encourage you to allow the process to play out, but also to take note of the fact that kids adjust as they grow, the same way you adjust as well as you grow. So maybe what you enjoyed eating last year is probably not what you enjoy eating today. So meat generally is a no-no for Micah, but now he eats chicken, but only roadside chicken. The one I prepare at home is a bit of a war. So he will eat roadside chicken and devour it, but when I prepare chicken at home, he will not touch it. He doesn't eat meat, he doesn't eat liver, he doesn't eat fish. So I have to find creative ways of sort of adding in that. Yes, he's really strange like that. So I would say let him be, because he's a child, he's a human being, he's an individual with likes and dislikes. And he's only 2, so he's really still exploring with his palate, with his tongue. So just be kind to yourself, establish different routines of doing things, because you cannot do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. So one, you need to adjust his feeding experience, which is allow him to feed himself, mash the food, move away from blending, let him feed and provide as much variety as you can, and then be at peace. Let the process play out, because he will be fine eventually. Yeah.
Very true. Angie, you have something to say. What's up?
As Rachel was speaking, I just remembered when we started Bump Love. I think it was 3 years ago, right? And her son, Micah, was afraid of people, generally did not speak, And yes, she was a bit worried because, luckily enough, her mom had it's like a play center for the little ones. But you should see Micah now. Boy, he is charming. He's speaking to people. He's going out there. He will approach you. And you ask yourself, so what did Rachel or what did Micah's grandma do? Sometimes we just develop in, different ways. I've hit 100 kgs. But as a child growing up, I was constantly underweight. But my mom was like, if she doesn't fall sick, then let her just do her thing. So you could be complaining about baby not eating or not eating food that's not blended. And 20 years from now, he'll be like me. He doesn't eat chicken. I eat the bones. We grind everything. So take your time, breathe in, and just wait for the process. Wait for the process.
Yeah, wait for the process. I know ultimately the reason as to why you wrote this was because you were feeling guilty for what you've done, and you're scared that it has probably affected him. And we're here to say that even if it is, please, you can't blame yourself for everything. No, you can't. You need to move on. We're so glad that you reached out, and if you're out there and you have something that's really bothering you, let us know. Let us know in our DMs, and let's see how we or the other moms in the platform or in the platform can advise you. Until next time, with love from Bump Love.